And so they started to build this narrative and they hid the history of feeding money into white America. They started to build this false history that black and brown people, that when we don't have housing, when we don't have access to education, right, that is our fault. That is all our fault. And that somehow white people are just like better, they're more hardworking and they're more moral, whatever. And it's all bullshit. And so what the family regulation system really does is it provides cover for that narrative. It says this parent right here who is without housing, because of the real reason they're without housing is because of generations, like going back to enslavement, of intentionally withholding housing from them, but that's not the reason. It's because she uses drugs. Right? And then the family regulation system, there is a global order which will ensure white people and white adjacent people will have money and power. It's not just it's not just a New York City thing. It is the global order. And what the family regulation system does is it justifies it. It says that's right. Like, this is the proper global order. All these people are hardworking. Everyone who doesn't have something, it's their own fault. They're bad parents. All the harm you see, it's what their kids, the harms of not having housing, of not having clean water. It's the parents' fault. It doesn't have anything to do with all these histories. And that's what the family regulation system, it is a key part of that global order. And, I agree, there are a lot of parents who have not done anything, right, and who have their kids taken away. My family, the shit was going down in our house. But that's what happens, that can be what happens when you bring someone over and have them work. Bring someone from their home country and have them work 18-hour days in this country, 7 days a week to be able to put food on the table. What do you expect of that person? Right? How long is he going to be able to keep it together before he just takes his anger out on his family?
The increase of black children in the system was very much so tied to this so-called war on drugs, right? And the crack epidemic. And not only the demonization of parents, right, who were using drugs, but the demonization of babies, right? My brothers and sisters, my parents did use, were called crack babies, right? And there was all these lies, and I actually learned this through the literature, the resources of the Movement for Family Power, about how, even though we were told that if you were born with crack in your system, that means you're going to have learning disabilities, or you're going to have all these, risks, that there's actually been no study that actually show that. It's crazy, right? And then you see, when it comes to white families, we have, laws that are being passed, even under the Trump administration, Family First Act, and while it's not perfect, it still was, I feel like, legislation that was created to try to keep white children together as opioid, right, crisis will sweep the country, right? And you've never heard a white baby be demonized, right, who's born with drugs in their system, right? You've never heard that. So yes, there's definitely a correlation when you look at the timeline of those systems at the same time.
You were in the trenches. You was an investigator for 10 years. You know the system in and out. But now, as you work directly with families, what advice would you give to help families in their own investigation against CPS? And what does that look like? So I'm gonna pass the mic.
So, the first thing that I would say is that families have to start fighting back. That is the first thing. As being an investigator for over 10 years, families are complicit. Family just continue to open the door for the social worker. If the social worker asks for to sign a HIPAA release or to get information, then we sign it. We have to be able to get our own language in this community. They are not here for us. They will never, ever be able to protect our families. Ever. And so we have to change the narrative. We got to be able to change the narrative. First, you got to figure out what are the allegations against you. And then start from there. That's what we have to change, but it starts with us. It starts with each and every person who made the decision to get the knowledge that is needed and that is going to take the action that is required to get the power. Right? Because the knowledge is, yeah, we can get the knowledge, but we got to take action.
Just imagine that your child has been gone for a while. Do not matter miles. Do not want to crack a smile. In a state of shock or wow. Can you tell me that it is how? Mommy want her baby now. Hear her screams and hear her shouts. It's a shame, cannot allow broken homes we can't account. Now you know what it's about. Man, these crackers in the house. In the north, we in the south, east and west, and yes, no doubt we all done heard it in their mouth. It makes no sense that will come out. No, this cannot be right now. Her baby's gon' kidnap and seize. Legally, you dead wrong. CPS, please cut it, cause we turn it up. Now you feel the heat, ain't no wonder where it's coming from. Drama, this is real. I done seen Lil' Mama tears. Everything ain't what it feels. Conscious mind, the greatest pills. Mixed with educated pills. Putting words in people's ears. What they did, it just ain't fair. We love our children, kids so dead.
Kidnapped me legally. Yeah, CPS that came and took my baby. And now I'm in a place where no one knows me. Yeah, they got on with strangers instead of family. And I feel so uncomfortable when they touch me. When all I do is love, how can this really be? And I'm praying on my knees for someone to save me.